You've met people with this quality before. Charming on the outside, but their hearts hide Islam's most dangerous spiritual disease. The Prophet said it destroys faith faster than sin, and you need to recognize it before you're affected. Definition: a nature of arrogance. Arrogance is more than just an inflated ego or boastful words. It is a deeply rooted mindset that warps one's understanding of self-worth and distorts how one views others. It emerges from a false sense of superiority, convincing a person that they are above correction, above others, and, dangerously, above the guidance and commandments of Allah. This attitude breeds contempt and disregard for people perceived as lesser, whether due to status, knowledge, or piety. Unlike momentary pride in an achievement, arrogance is a constant internal posture, a belief that one's opinions, capabilities, or value are inherently greater than others. This can manifest in dismissive speech, judgmental attitudes, and a refusal to acknowledge one's own flaws. At its core, arrogance often amounts to a subtle form of self-worship, where the ego is elevated and the heart becomes closed to truth, advice, and humility. In Islam, arrogance, kibr, is considered one of the gravest spiritual diseases. It stands in direct contradiction to the essence of faith, which demands submission, humility, and recognition of one's dependence on Allah. The Prophet Muhammad warned clearly about its dangers, stating that no one who has an atom's weight of arrogance in his heart will enter paradise. Sahih Muslim. This illustrates how severely arrogance threatens one's relationship with the divine. The Islamic worldview upholds humility as a virtue and foundational principle of righteousness. A believer is encouraged to see themselves as a servant, ABD, of Allah, always in need of His mercy and guidance. Arrogance, on the other hand, leads to spiritual blindness, prideful rebellion, and ultimately, a break from the humility that Islam commands. Furthermore, arrogance dishonors the creation of Allah. It causes individuals to look down upon others, forgetting that all people are created by the same Lord, and that honor in Islam is based on piety, not wealth, knowledge, or lineage. In essence, arrogance is not only a sin of character but a barrier to growth, sincerity, and salvation. Islam teaches us that true greatness lies not in exalting ourselves, but in lowering ourselves before our Creator and treating His creation with respect and compassion. Signs of arrogance. Arrogance often hides behind subtle behaviors and attitudes, making it one of the most dangerous and deceptive spiritual diseases. It can manifest in both external conduct and internal spiritual states, gradually weakening one's relationship with Allah and distancing one from others. Behavioral signs of arrogance are frequently observed in how a person interacts with people around them. One of the clearest indicators is looking down on others, whether through words, actions, or body language. Arrogant individuals often dismiss or belittle those they consider beneath them in knowledge, wealth, or status. They may also reject sincere advice, assuming they are beyond correction. Admitting fault becomes nearly impossible for someone engulfed in pride, as acknowledging mistakes would require humility. Their speech may be filled with boastfulness, and they may walk or carry themselves in a way that radiates superiority. The Quran warns against such behavior in Surah Luqman 31:18. Do not turn your cheek in scorn toward people, nor walk arrogantly upon the earth. Indeed, Allah does not like the arrogant and boastful. Spiritual signs of arrogance, though less visible, are far more dangerous. These include a sense of self-sufficiency, where the person feels they no longer need Allah's help or guidance. Gratitude, shukr, fades as they begin to attribute success and blessings solely to their own efforts. As a result, they may neglect repentance, tawbah, assuming they are free from fault or above accountability. This delusion leads to a belief that they are entitled to special treatment or exceptions from Allah's laws, an attitude that mirrors the arrogance of Iblis when he refused to bow to Adam, claiming superiority. Such signs point to a heart that has become hardened and distant from submission. In Islam, submission to Allah and sincere humility are marks of true faith. Recognizing these signs within ourselves is essential for spiritual growth. The remedy lies in constant self-reflection, seeking knowledge and maintaining a humble heart that is always open to correction and grounded in gratitude. Arrogance may raise a person in the eyes of the world, but before Allah, it is a cause for downfall. Consequences of arrogance. Arrogance is not just a personal flaw, it carries severe consequences both in this life and in the hereafter. While it may give an illusion of power or superiority in the short term, its long-term effects are deeply destructive to the individual's soul, relationships, and ultimate destiny. In this world, arrogance often leads to fractured relationships and emotional isolation. People who constantly look down on others, refuse to listen, or never admit their faults, push others away. Friendships become shallow, trust erodes, and eventually, the arrogant person may find themselves alone. This isolation is not just social, it is also internal. Arrogant individuals often feel a deep inner emptiness, as their sense of self is built on a fragile and false image of perfection. They may become obsessed with maintaining this image, leading to anxiety, stress, and insecurity. Despite outward confidence, their hearts are unsettled, as pride prevents them from connecting sincerely with others or turning humbly to Allah. In the hereafter, the consequences are far more severe. Arrogance is a major sin that blocks the path to paradise. The Prophet Muhammad clearly warned, "No one who has an atom's weight of arrogance in his heart will enter Jannah." Sahih Muslim. This powerful hadith shows how arrogance poisons the heart, making it unfit for the reward of eternal peace. On the Day of Judgment, the arrogant will face humiliation instead of honor. Their pride will be shattered, and they will be brought low before all of creation. Allah explicitly states in the Quran, "Indeed, He does not like the arrogant." Surah An-Nahl 16:23. This divine disapproval is a serious warning. Arrogance is not merely a flaw. It is a rejection of the humility that defines a true servant of Allah. It distances a person from Allah's mercy and closeness, while feeding a delusion of self-sufficiency and entitlement. Ultimately, arrogance blocks spiritual growth, severs human connections, and invites divine displeasure. Islam calls us to reflect on our behavior, purify our intentions, and replace pride with humility. For it is humility, not arrogance, that elevates us in the sight of Allah. The cure: cultivating humility. Arrogance is a spiritual disease, and, like any illness of the heart, it requires conscious and consistent effort to heal. The cure lies in cultivating humility, a quality beloved by Allah and foundational to a strong relationship with Him. Humility softens the heart, opens the soul to truth, and nurtures sincere connection with others. Islam offers practical and powerful ways to develop this noble trait. One of the most effective tools is remembrance of Allah, dhikr. By regularly reflecting on Allah's greatness, power, and mercy, we are reminded of our own limitations and dependence on Him. When we stand before the vastness of the universe and the might of its Creator, our pride begins to dissolve. Dhikr helps reframe our self-perception and brings clarity to our true position as humble servants of Allah. Another essential step is gratitude, shukr. Recognizing that every blessing, wealth, intellect, status, or success is a gift from Allah prevents the ego from claiming credit. Expressing gratitude, both in words and actions, keeps us grounded and reminds us that we are not self-made, but dependent on divine generosity. Serving others is a powerful way to dismantle the ego. Whether through acts of kindness, charity, sadaqah, or simply helping those in need, serving redirects attention away from the self. It reminds us that all people, regardless of their status, deserve compassion and dignity. True strength is shown not through dominance, but through service. Repentance, tawbah, is also crucial. Arrogance can be subtle, and hidden pride can creep into the heart without notice. Regularly seeking forgiveness helps cleanse the soul and renews the intention to stay humble and sincere. Finally, keeping the hereafter in focus shifts our values. Worldly status, beauty, or recognition are fleeting. What truly matters is how we are seen by Allah. The Quran beautifully describes the humble in Surah Al-Furqan 25:63. The servants of the Most Merciful are those who walk humbly upon the earth. This verse reminds us that humility is not weakness. It is a mark of true servitude, strength, and faith. Key takeaways: arrogance and humility stand as opposites in both behavior and belief. While arrogance is a spiritual disease that blinds the heart and distorts reality, humility is a liberating force that connects a person to truth, sincerity, and divine favor. Arrogance builds walls between people and between the soul and Allah, whereas humility opens hearts, deepens relationships, and strengthens faith. Arrogance deceives a person into believing they are self-sufficient, more important than others, or above correction. It thrives on comparison, ego, and a false sense of control. This mindset not only poisons relationships, but also blocks spiritual growth. A heart swollen with pride has no room for submission, gratitude, or repentance. On the other hand, humility is rooted in recognizing one's dependence on Allah and seeing oneself honestly. It is not self-loathing or weakness, but a strength built on truth. The humble person does not seek status or praise, but serves others, reflects deeply and constantly, returns to Allah in gratitude and repentance. This is the path of the prophets, who despite their greatness, remained deeply humble before Allah and compassionate toward His creation. To stay aligned with humility and avoid the trap of arrogance, regular self-reflection is essential. Here are a few important questions to ask. Do I dismiss others' opinions unfairly? This may indicate pride in thinking only my views are valid. Do I attribute my success to myself or to Allah? Recognizing Allah's role keeps the ego in check and nurtures gratitude. Am I quick to apologize when wrong? The unwillingness to admit fault is a sign of arrogance. True strength lies in humbling oneself and making amends. These reflections, when done sincerely, serve as spiritual checkpoints.
They help us course correct and return to a posture of humility. In the end, arrogance brings downfall, while humility brings elevation, both in the sight of people and in the sight of Allah. As the Prophet said, "Whoever humbles himself,
for the sake of Allah, Allah will raise him in rank." This is the ultimate success, not in being seen as great by the world, but in being beloved to the one who created it.